Hey there. Hey there. Hey there. Hey there. Hey there. All right, so we're just gonna ramble. We're gonna ramble. A little while ago, I did a poll on YouTube asking people what their preferred form of entertainment was. I put movies, TV, which I grouped with YouTube, video games, outdoor activities, and then tabletop games. And the overwhelming majority of people said that TV and YouTube was their preferred form of entertainment. Now, there's obviously going to be a bit of bias there that the people that are voting are already on YouTube, right? So, it makes sense that they would choose YouTube as their preferred form of entertainment. But it was still interesting to see. I also watch a good amount of YouTube, and it got me thinking about all of the channels that I've watched over the years, and like my my progress, I guess, like the progression of the channels that I watch. So I figured I would talk about it. It's just something to ramble about. I enjoy doing the rambling videos just because they're kind of fun to make, just randomly talking about stuff, and they do fairly well. So I figured why not. I have a little list here, so I might be looking down here occasionally because there's actually a lot of like progression, but we'll just go through it all. I'm gonna try to kind of keep it chronological. So starting with when I was young, what the channels I watched at that point, and then progressing to where I am now. But it might not be perfectly chronological, so just keep that in mind. I'm interested to see if any of you have had similar progressions, or if you've watched similar channels, if you still watch channels that I used to watch and don't anymore, whatever. Just let me know. But anyway, let's get started. So we're going to start way back when I was in like middle school. Because, I mean, YouTube started in what, like 2005, I think, was when YouTube was like created. And I would have been like 5 or 6 years old when that was the case. So like kindergarten, I guess. Kindergarten, first grade, around there. But I don't really recall using YouTube all that much when it like first came out. I want to say it wasn't until like third or fourth grade for me that I even started like understanding that YouTube was this thing where people could share videos of whatever they wanted, right? But it wasn't until like middle school, I would say, where I really started like watching a channel as if it was like a channel on TV, right? Where like you watch consistently the same content created by these people, right? One of the earliest channels that I can remember watching was Smosh. If you guys remember Smosh, I believe they still make videos to this day, but I'm not 100% sure. Just because I don't watch them anymore. But when I was young, I really loved Smosh. I really loved their like skit videos, but honestly, I really loved even more their like side videos. Like they did like lunchtime videos or whatever. I forget what they were called, but it's been a long time since I've watched those. But yeah, I really liked those videos. I guess it was just because they made you feel more like a friend, like you were in on their like friendship or whatever, right? It felt like a behind the scenes kind of thing. It made you feel more special, I guess. I mean, the skits were really funny, but it was those like behind the scenes like lunch videos that were really my bread and butter. But around the same time, maybe a little later, I don't know. It's kind of hard to like think back because this was a long time ago. I was also pretty big into Tobuscus, Toby Turner. His videos, they were just hilarious. Specifically his Happy Wheels videos. Like I said, this was around the time that I was in middle school, so I was big into things like Minecraft and stuff. Interestingly enough, I actually didn't like his Minecraft videos. I never really watched them. I really loved his Happy Wheels videos. His Happy Wheel videos were my favorite of his videos that he made. And he also kind of did, it was kind of the same thing with Smosh, where it's like he kind of did like behind the scenes, like IRL videos. Like he has those videos where like, they're like rants, I think, or whatever, where he's just ranting about like common annoyances in like everyday life. those videos were pretty funny. I liked those a lot when I was younger. I mean, they're still pretty funny, honestly, going back. I haven't watched them in a long time, but I recall them being funny, so I don't know. I would assume they're still fairly funny. I don't know. It's hard to say. But yeah, Smosh and Tobuscus were probably the two, like one of, at least one, some of the earliest content creators that I can remember, like specifically, subscribing to and like purposefully waiting for like uploads and stuff like that. Also, I don't know if anyone else was like this, but when I first started using YouTube as a kid, I thought you had to pay to subscribe. So I was always really careful to not subscribe to any channels because I figured it was ooh, they're gonna secretly get all my credit card information. Like my parents are gonna kill me if I accidentally hit subscribe. And there's a loud truck going by. Hopefully you can't hear that, but you definitely could probably hear that. But anyway, I don't know if anyone else was like that, but I always thought that you had to pay, so I never wanted to subscribe. So I never actually subscribed to any of these early channels just because I didn't understand how it worked. But they were still what I would consider, I was subscribed to them in the sense that like I would look them up and wait for their next uploads and stuff like that. Around middle school, maybe a little bit later than Smosh and Toby Turner, was when I found out about Freddie Wong and, by extension, Corridor Digital, which, in all honesty, are probably like the two biggest inspirations that made me want to get into YouTube. Obviously, they don't make ASMR, which is what I do, but still, the whole idea of like being a YouTuber, I would say for me, it stemmed from those two channels because they made, in my opinion, what was like the coolest content out of anyone on the platform. Freddie Wong, the first video I saw of his was Duck Hunt, I'm pretty sure. It's the earliest one that I can remember seeing, as far as I know. So it's the one that I attribute with being the first that I saw of his, but I'm not 100% sure that that's actually accurate. But yeah, being like a little kid who's like, I just discovered like Call of Duty's a game, and like, being like a soldier is cool and stuff like that. Their videos focused pretty heavily on like, guns and special effects and explosions and stuff like that, and that was all really cool to me. And it was also the first time as like a young kid seeing like someone that wasn't like Hollywood, right, doing things like this. And the effects aren't like groundbreaking or anything, but still, for a kid that can't really tell like good from bad when in terms of like CGI and stuff like that, it was impressive, right? It was like, damn, like you can actually do this. You can make like a story and you can tell this thing and you can like add special effects. So yeah, that was like a huge inspiration. I still, like to this day, would be interested in making videos kind of like they did, but I understand that that's not really sustainable on the platform anymore, just because those types of videos obviously take a lot more time and resources to produce, and it's just easier to make different kinds of content. I still watch a bit of Corridor Digital. Honestly, it's a little disappointing that they don't do as much like the stuff they used to do. They don't, honestly, the Corridor channel itself, because they have two channels. At the start, it was the Corridor channel and then the Sam and Nico channel, because those are the names of the people that ran the channel. And it was like Sam and Nico channel was like a behind the scenes. They would do like a VFX breakdown on like how they did the effects in like their latest video, right? And that was cool seeing those, especially as a kid that was interested in like pursuing that as an option, right? So it was like, ooh, wow, I can follow them like step by step, But at some point they changed it to the Corridor Crew channel. And then obviously they started doing the VFX Artist React, which really blew up. And so now they don't really do any videos for the Corridor channel itself, which is a little sad because, it's like those were the videos that really inspired me. And it's kind of sad to think that those kinds of videos aren't really being made anymore. I don't blame them because, like I said, I understand that it's just not sustainable on the platform anymore. But it is a little sad to see that it doesn't happen as much anymore, because like now the kids that are growing up today don't have that, right? I mean, obviously the videos that Corridor made still exist, but they're not being promoted on the platform just because they're not new videos, right? So it's pretty unlikely that like the kids growing up today are going to find those videos. They're just going to find like random gaming videos. I don't even know what kids watch these days. I don't know. As for Freddie Wong, his channel, it got rebranded to Rocket Jump at some point. It was around that time that I kind of stopped watching those videos. I don't really know. I don't think there was really any specific reason why I stopped watching. It just, I guess I just grew out of it. I don't know. I don't know. It was also, I mean, like VGHS, when VGHS was coming out, season 1, I was like super big into Freddie Wong. It was around that time, like 2012, I think, was around that time. So like I was super into that. It's like, video game high school, are you kidding me? That's amazing. It had everything you could possibly want. But it was around that time that like they started becoming a lot more corporate. There's a vibe to their early videos where it's like, it's clearly just like a bunch of friends just like fucking around, right? And I really like that vibe. But around the time that the company rebranded to Rocket Jump, it became a lot more of like a business, and there's nothing wrong with that. I get it. Obviously they had other intentions and aspirations that they wanted to reach that required them to rebrand and to focus and, change their structure, right? But just as a viewer, that I just didn't find that kind of content as engaging. So I just kind of stopped watching. Kind of as an extension of those two channels, Freddie Wong and Corridor Digital, I also was a pretty big fan of the Node channel, which was kind of like their combined like gaming channel, if you will. Honestly, I honestly don't watch that many gaming channels, at least anymore. And even like back when I was a kid, I don't remember watching that many gaming channels. But Node was one of the ones that I actually watched, and I think the reason that I liked it so much more than a lot of the other gaming channels, like I never watched PewDiePie, I never watched like Markiplier or Jacksepticeye, like those are the big ones that everyone can name pretty much. I never watched them. Like I never really cared, because the reason that I liked Node was because of the dynamic between the people playing the game, right? It's clear that they're all like really good friends, and it was entertaining to, see them interact. It was more about their interactions than it was about them actually playing the game, which wasn't the case with things like PewDiePie and stuff, where it's just them and they're just playing the game and trying to be as funny as possible, right? It just never really catered to me. In kind of that same vein, Vanoss was around more like high school when I started watching Vanoss, so like 2013, 2014, going into like 2015 probably, was when I really got into Vanoss, and kind of for the same reason, where like he like never did a solo video, right? Like he was always with what is now referred to as like the Vanoss crew, right? And again, it was always more about their, their interactions as a group of friends than it was about the actual game they were playing. And the funny moments that would happen in the game just accelerated or gave them something to laugh about. But ultimately, it was still just about like their friendship and interaction that made it more enjoyable to watch. But yeah, I watched Vanoss pretty much throughout high school, I would say. It was probably around like senior year that I stopped watching him. Again, I don't really know for any particular reason why I stopped watching a lot of these channels. I guess I just grew out of the type of content they were creating. But like I don't really have anything against any of these people or anything. The videos that they made were immensely hilarious. I enjoyed them a lot. But yeah, let's see, what else? I have a lot of names on here, and I'm trying to think of them in chronological order. So those were all the ones that I've listed so far were like middle school to high schoolish, and a lot of these other ones are also going to be around that same time. Obviously, as an ASMR creator, I guess I should talk about ASMR channels that I watched. The first ASMR channel that I know that I've watched, at least that I can remember, it might not have been the very first. Well, actually, there's two, okay? So if you look up Whoa, things just got really blue. I guess the sun went behind like a blue cloud. I don't know. Anyway, if you look up virtual barbershop on YouTube, you'll get recommended, or not recommended, it'll come up with a really old video. It's like 13 years old or something like that. It's a blue screen with the words virtual barbershop. It's like Windows Movie Maker, right? And that was technically, if you consider that ASMR, which I feel like it is kind of ASMR, if you consider that ASMR, then that was technically the very first ASMR video I ever watched. But as far as like an ASMR content creator that I ever watched and like consistently watched their videos, I would say Softly Galoshes was the first one that kind of introduced me to the concept of ASMR. Because obviously the virtual barbershop was like cool. I watched that more as like a novelty, where it was like, whoa, this cool thing where like you put on headphones and it's like you're actually there. Like at that point I had no idea what ASMR was or that it was even a thing, right? And honestly, I think that video heavily predated like modern ASMR. I think at that point when that came out, it wasn't done as ASMR. It was done just to be cool, right? So I don't know. But I would still consider Softly Galoshes to be the first ASMR content creator that I remember watching consistently. Around the same time, I mean, when I first discovered ASMR, it was kind of like, oh man, I'm going crazy with it. So there were like probably a lot of channels, but she was probably the one that I remember. Well, definitely the one that I remember the most, obviously, but probably the one that I also watched the most simply because I remember her the most. I also found out about Massage ASMR. Massage ASMR did a lot of cool videos. I specifically was a fan of his no talking videos because he made a ton of no talking videos and then he would put them into like a collage video that was just like 10 hours long. And so those were kind of fun to just throw on. And it was at this time when I first discovered ASMR that ASMR could actually put me to sleep. So like I would put in my earbuds at night and then I would actually go to sleep listening to ASMR. It doesn't work for me anymore. I don't know why. It just doesn't. But yeah, at the time I would fall asleep. So the longer the video, the better, because you could just put it on and then not worry about it, right? It would just keep playing. And then you'd wake up in the middle of the night with like your headphones wrapped around your neck. Good times. Good times. Raffy Taffy was a big one that I found. I forget how I found. I think the first video I ever saw of his was the best tapping video ever made, or whatever it's called, which is, it's not his most viewed video, but it's like in his top 10 most viewed videos, and it's like one of his earliest videos as well, which is kind of funny. But yeah, he makes great ASMR, obviously, and I was a big fan of his. He did a lot of like faster paced tapping sounds and stuff like that, faster paced ASMR, which kind of got me into fast paced ASMR, I would say. So that was kind of cool. Around that same time, or maybe even slightly before, I'm not 100% sure, I found out about Fast ASMR, who, as the name would suggest, also kind of does fast ASMR. I would still say that she's actually a little bit slower paced than a lot of the contemporary fast ASMR channels, you know, but still faster paced than what was, you know, standard at the time. Because when ASMR first like broke out in like what was probably like 2012 to 2014, right? Everybody was being really quiet and really slow, like whisper as quietly and as slowly as possible. So like anything faster than like very slow was considered fast paced. So, and she's been around for a long time. Fast ASMR has been around. So, she started making ASMR around when it like actually first started. So around that time, you know, you didn't have to be super fast paced to be considered fast paced. So I guess that was what she was. Through Fast ASMR, I found Michaela ASMR, who has become one of my, that was pretty recent, honestly. So that's not really, I'm kind of breaking chronological order, but within like the past, I don't know, like 3 years, 2 years maybe, I found out about Michaela ASMR through a collab she did with Fast ASMR and a bunch of other channels. And when I watched her section, it was just like, oh shit, this is like the best shit I've ever seen. So I checked her out, and like all of her videos are amazing. So yeah. And then the last, actually, I'm gonna add one. I only have one more listed on my page, but I'll quickly mention Nicholas ASMR, who I found out about through Raffy Taffy, because they did a collab video one time. And Nicholas's videos are also insane. He does probably the fastest paced ASMR on the entire platform, I would say. And he also just does really great like rhythmic stuff, because as far as I understand it, he's like a drummer, either as like a side gig or whatever. I don't know. Maybe it's just a hobby. I'm not sure. But he has a good sense of rhythm. So he does a lot of like rhythmic tapping, and it's very fast paced, and his videos are really good. And then the last channel that I have here is Angelica, who Angelica's kind of weird, but she does a lot of very like out there role plays that are just kind of like bizarre, and they're very funny. As far as the ASMR goes, it's some of them are good, some of them are really good, honestly, and then some of them are just a little too bizarre. But I still like her videos, honestly. They're pretty good. Let's see what else we got here. I'm trying to figure out the chronological order. I guess these three, H3H3, iDubbbz, and Leafy. Leafy is Here, I think was the name of his channel. Those three were, I found out about all of those in high school, probably like freshman-ish, sophomore-ish year. And I watched all three of those pretty extensively. I mean, I feel like that's kind of the trifecta, especially at that time. That was in like 2015, 2014, 2015, 2016, around that time, right? I mean, that was like, if you were a high school boy, you were watching one of those channels at the very least, right? Like, it just, you had to. It's just very, it's the epitome of like middle school, high school humor, right? As for H3H3, I stopped watching him around the time that he focused on the podcast. I'm just not a big fan of long form content. So like live streams and podcasts and stuff like that. I'm just not interested in that type of stuff for whatever reason. I would much rather watch a video that's like more condensed, more genuinely funny throughout the entire thing, than watch like a 2-hour video that has like funny moments, but then most of the time is spent, just talking or doing something stupid, right? I have nothing against people that like that kind of content. I can understand it, but I just personally, as a viewer, it's just not what I'm into. And then Leafy got banned. I also just kind of fell out of enjoying his content for pretty much the same reason. A lot of his videos were basically the exact same thing over and over again. And as you age, obviously your sense of humor changes. And so he was, like I said, he was the epitome of like middle school, high schooler humor, right? So just as I aged out of that demographic, it became less and less entertaining. And I would say the iDubbbz was basically the same thing, where it's like, yeah, his early videos were funny if you're a younger person, right? And they were all kind of like edgy-ish, right? Which, if that's your cup of tea, then, and that was certainly my cup of tea back then, but I just, like I said, kind of grown out of it, so I don't really watch those channels anymore. Let's see what else we got. We got Super Mega. They're kind of like a gaming channel, although, to be honest, when I first found out about them, the first videos I saw of theirs were gaming videos, and I thought they were hilarious because they were like really short. But they also have kind of transformed into a long form, and I guess that's kind of just the general nature of the platform as a whole, because it's more financially incentivized to make very long videos that you can put more ads on and have longer viewer retention, obviously, right? But again, it's just as a viewer, I prefer shorter, more condensed videos. And so when Super Mega started doing the podcast, and honestly, a lot of their videos, at least, well, I stopped watching them probably like 3 or 4 years ago. So I don't know what they're up to now. But when I was around the time that I was like unsubscribing from them, a lot of their videos, even their non-podcast videos, were they were just really long. They were really long, and it was more of like a podcast episode with gameplay in the background, right? And it just, again, it wasn't something that I was super into. So I really love their IRL videos though. So I'll even like check up on the channel occasionally to see if they've made any new IRL videos, because their IRL videos are pretty fucking hilarious. I know the guys that are a part of Super Mega also had a channel called Syndigo, which focused on skits. I haven't watched many of those, honestly, but I can understand the progress of going from that to doing what they do now on Super Mega, and you can see a lot of like their skit work in a lot of their IRL videos, which I still find entertaining most of the time. We've got JonTron. JonTron's videos are fucking hilarious. It's weird. I'll go back like through JonTron's like videos just to like see where he started and shit. And like his early videos are really different than his new videos. Like his new videos, it's just basically like a commentary channel where he's just fucking hilarious. But his old videos were very different. But his new videos are hilarious. I love his new videos. Every time JonTron uploads, it's like, damn, I gotta watch this right now because this shit's gonna be fucking hilarious. Cody Ko. I watched a lot of Cody Ko when he and Noel were making videos together. They would do like commentary at the same time, like sitting in the same room right next to each other. Those videos are hilarious. Like the Girl Defined videos they made are just like so hilarious. They did a lot of other things like That's Cringe. Those videos, I died laughing. I died laughing watching those. Actually, I'm deceased now, and it is getting really blue. Let's there. This is gonna get really like orange now when the sun comes back. Wow. Okay. Anyway, I'm getting the. Honestly, this video's been going for a lot longer than I would have expected, but we're getting the icon that says we're running out of time. I think I'm just gonna keep rambling though, because I have a bit more I want to say. So even if the video blacks out, I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. But I'm just gonna keep going with it. I assume this is going to be something that you're just kind of like listening to in the background anyway, so having no video probably won't be the biggest downside. Anyway, going back to what I was saying, I really like the videos Cody Ko made with Noel. Those videos are hilarious. But the videos of Cody Ko just by himself doing basically what they did together, I don't find them as funny. And again, that just kind of goes back to what I was saying about how a lot of the content that I enjoy watching revolves around, the interactions between people rather than just one person trying to be as funny as possible. So, I don't find those as entertaining, honestly. But yeah. And then they've also focused more on like the podcast. They have the Tiny Meat Gang podcast that they do a lot now. So it's just, I'm not big into podcasts, so I don't watch that. What else we got? We got Germa. Same deal. Same exact shit. When I first found out about Germa, which he was doing stuff for a long time before I found out about him. Like he started with like TF2. Okay, well there goes the video. But anyway, I'm going to keep going. He started with TF2 and I never watched any of those videos. The first video I ever saw of Germa's was his 700,000 games video, which was really funny. And after that, I just like binged a lot of his videos and obviously found them to be pretty fucking hilarious. And so I started watching a lot of his videos and I subscribed to, I want to say, I don't know. I want to say that shortly after I found out about him, because he has two channels. He had the Germa 985 YouTube channel, and then he started streaming and then uploading like stream highlights to his second account, his second Germa channel on YouTube, right? And he doesn't post anymore on his primary channel, the Germa 985 channel. I want to say that when I found out about him and his channel, he was still uploading a little bit to the Germa 985 channel, and then he progressed over to the second Germa channel, which I continued to watch because those videos are still really good. But at some point, like I said, it seems like it's happening with pretty much everyone, which isn't a big issue unless you're like me, who likes short form content. But just like everyone else, his second Germa channel videos became excruciatingly long. It was like, it went from being like a stream highlights video to just like a VOD archive, where like the videos are like an hour long, and it's like, I just don't want to sit through that. I'm sorry. I would much rather the video be 10 minutes long and be consistently funny throughout the whole thing than watch a 45 to hour long video, you know, where it's like, I'm sorry, it's just not as entertaining for me personally. Let's see what else we got. We got Donkey, video game Donkey. All of his videos are fucking gold. I mean, they're just amazing. There's nothing else to really say about that. I found out about his channel, honestly, fairly recently. I know he's been making videos for a long ass time, but I found out about his channel probably within the last 2 years, and I've gone through and like binged literally every single one of his videos because they're just that good. His videos are amazing. We've got we'll come back to him because he's more recent, I guess. We got Salmonella Academy. He does kind of similar videos to Casually Explained. I just now realized that there is a person using like a fucking chainsaw or something in the background. Hopefully you can't hear that. You can probably hear that. I don't know when that started. I'm really sorry. And I just popped my knuckle. I'm really sorry. Maybe I should just stop the video. I don't know. I'm just going to keep going. If you want to stop watching, that's fine. Most of you probably stopped watching already anyway. It's cool. It's cool. I understand. Nobody wants to hear a chainsaw in the background. I don't know what the fuck my neighbors are doing. Anyway, Salmonella Academy. He does similar videos to like Casually Explained, where it's like, you know, MS Paint, like stick figures and stuff. But he does like more historical, informational videos, which are still really entertaining. So I like his videos a lot. They're pretty good. In kind of the same vein as that, I've got Mustard and Melody Sheep. Mustard does short form documentary style videos on like aviation, so the history of certain like aircrafts, and sometimes he does like other vehicles, so like land-based vehicles, but mostly it's aircraft. And I just find them very entertaining. They're not funny, but they're informational, and you know, it's interesting. It's cool. I like learning about that stuff. It's also really interesting because he does a lot of videos on like forgotten technology, or like, not really forgotten. What's the word? It's like, he does a lot of videos on like aircraft that never became anything, like these huge monstrosities of technology, like, oh, let's just make a plane the size of Kansas, you know, and it's like, and here's why that didn't work out, right? It's like an alternative future, kind of, so to speak, I guess, where it's like he explains all of these planes that, you know, had a lot of promise, and then he explains why they like never became anything, right? And I find it really interesting with that kind of stuff, like to see, you know, not only what was considered to be worthwhile at the time, you know, we're talking like 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s, that, you know, historical, recent historical, obviously. It's interesting to see what they even considered like worthwhile at that point in time. And then it's also interesting to see like why it never became anything, right? And then Melody Sheep does stuff regarding space, not necessarily documentary style. I mean, I guess it's fairly documentary style, but his videos are really good just because they're very, I like space. I like space, and the visuals are really cool. He does like, why can I not think of what it's called? 3D models and stuff, and so does Mustard, but the visuals in Melody Sheep's videos are much more like abstract, much more artistic, whereas Mustard's videos are much more focused on just giving you a visual like aid, right? But yeah, Melody Sheep's videos are amazing. I really recommend his I forget what it's called. I think it's Time Lapse of the Future. I think that's his most viewed video on his channel, so there's a decent chance you've already seen it, but that video is really, really good. And then, let's see, what else? There's a few, like, music channels. I don't know if I'm subscribed to them, and I watch a few of their videos, but honestly, I don't watch like every one of their videos because they're not really videos, it's music, right? So I'm a little hesitant maybe to put these in here simply because it's kind of different, you know. It more falls under the category of music, like listening to something on Spotify, than it is watching something on YouTube, right? But Zerching, I don't know how you say it, but I'm just going to call it Zerching for Sounds. It's like searching for sounds, but with an X instead of an S at the very start. He posts a lot of 1970s, 80s, and 90s Japanese fusion music, which is my favorite genre of music. So a lot of the albums that he posts are really good, and it's hard to find that stuff kind of in other areas, like Amazon Music doesn't have. I don't know if it's on Spotify. I don't use Spotify personally, but yeah, it's kind of hard to find some of that stuff. So I use his channel as a good way to find more of those like obscure songs, I guess. Yeah. I used to be subscribed to Electronic Gems, which does more like synthwave, vaporwave type of music, but I just kind of, I wouldn't say I fell out of enjoying that genre, because I still do kind of enjoy that genre. Well, not kind of, I mean, I do enjoy the genre of synthwave and vaporwave and stuff, but ever since discovering, you know, city pop, I just consider that so much better that I don't spend a lot of time listening to vaporwave and synthwave anymore, just because I just consider city pop to be that much better, that it's like way more worth my time to listen to that instead. So I'm not subscribed to Electronic Gems anymore, but I still do kind of like that music. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are the channels that I've been subscribed to. I'm currently not subscribed to a lot of the ones that I've listed, just because, like I said, you know, you get older, you fall out of being the targeted demographic of a lot of these channels and stuff, or they just start making different types of content that you're just not as interested in. So like for me, like I said, a lot of these channels have transitioned to making longer form videos, just because that's what you kind of have to do nowadays. And it's just, that's not really the content that I'm interested in viewing. So, but yeah, there you go. You'll have to let me know. Do you watch any of these channels? Were you subscribed at any point to any of these channels? Did you have a similar progression of channel to me personally? You know, who knows? You'll just have to let me know. But anyway, thanks for watching. If you've made it to this point, I don't know how long this has been. It's probably been like 40 minutes or some shit, but it's been a long video. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you made it to this point, especially thank you for watching. I really appreciate it, especially the people that watch the entire video. So thank you very much. But anyway, thanks for watching. I'll catch you later.